3, 2, 1, and we're going live. Corey Reeves, Richie Didge, live in Fight Kingdom HQ. Thanks for coming in. You can put these on if you want. Makes you feel like a DJ.
Chicka.
That's it. For those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a full-time plumber.
Yeah, I know it took you a while to get here today after a big day's of work. I really appreciate that.
I'm a full-time plumber, and in my spare time, I like to train MMA and compete in MMA. Train 6 days a week, usually, sometimes 7.
For something you do part-time, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, well, I enjoy my job, and I enjoy my hobby. The problem is juggling them, I guess.
Would you consider being a fighter your real job and plumbing just being there until you reach the end goal of becoming a pro fighter?
I enjoy plumbing.
Plumbing?
I enjoy the company that I work for, and I enjoy the work that I do. So
that's awesome. That's always good to do what you love. So tell us a little bit about your gym. Where you training out of?
So I train out at Kimikai MMA under Ed Bavelock.
Let's get in the camera here. We haven't done this before, so you're gonna have to bear with us. Just working out all the itty bitty bits.
So I train out at Kimikai MMA under Ed Bavelock. Train with Joseph Luciano, a few of the Trent boys down there. Everyone knows Joseph Luciano. Yeah,
Ed's like one of the OGs of Australian mixed martial arts. Yep. Like when I first got into MMA and that, following it as a hardcore fan, and I was looking around for gyms and so forth. Ed was one of the first people to come up, and he's very well respected, very well liked guy. I was actually really terrified of Ed when I first met him, and
I think everyone is.
Yeah, I think he is, but he's actually one of the nicest, loveliest guys I've met. And
depending on which side you are.
Yeah. All right. I'll make sure to stay on his good side then. Yeah. Even he's very passionate. Very passionate. Even watching you overseas when you were fighting, the way he takes care of you guys, the way he takes care of even your opposition, like whether you won or lost, he was going up to the fighters, giving them a drink of water post-fight, a hug, congratulations before he even came to you. And I found that really amazing. Yeah. It's a great quality to have.
That show of respect. And
it is. Because at the end of the day, martial arts, you get in there, you punch face. Yeah. But it's all about love and respect.
For sure.
At the end of the day, you go in there, you win, lose, you hug it out. So, well, it was hard to get you in here because you're barely in the country these days. Like, you're probably running out of pages on your passport.
Been all over the country. I mean, outside of the country, all over the world. This year. Went to Phuket with family, trained while I was there because I wanted to make the most of it and go across to Bangkok to compete in the Asian Open. I thought, while I'm already there, may as well do it.
Was that IMAF?
That was an IMAF tournament. Yeah. Lost the first round of the competition by decision to Bahrain, and that was a great experience in itself. As soon as I got out, just all I wanted was more. Massive eye opener, and then went to Bali with a heap of mates. Had a bit of a holiday straight after that. While I was in Bali, Joseph Luciano was fighting on One Warrior Series. Yeah. So I thought I can't miss that. So,
massive opportunity.
Yeah, me and now my fiance Cassandra Meads.
Yes, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Taking the first step.
We went over. So we were in Bali. While we were in Bali, we were there for a week, and we flew from Bali to Singapore for like a day. Watched the fight. And then flew straight back out over to Bali for another few days. And then where did I go after that? Came back to Australia, kept training. That's when I fought to Law not long after that for the super lightweight title, 74 point something.
Yeah, we'll touch on that in a bit because I really do want to talk about that fight.
Yeah, and then and then went to, I'm pretty sure I've been somewhere else, but went to Bahrain to compete in the Worlds.
Yeah.
And then come back from the Worlds. I was here for like 4 days, and then went to the Philippines to see one of my closest mates get married.
Yeah.
And that was congratulations to Junior and Candice once again.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the footage. It looked absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
And so now I've only been back for like a week, and
are you
feels
leaving
good
again?
to be.
Are you leaving anytime soon?
Hopefully not.
No.
Nothing planned anyway, but who knows?
It's good to have you back in the country because we got a lot going. Excuse me, we got a lot going on. Let's quickly touch on your fight you just mentioned before. Now, your current Path to Hex lightweight champ.
Yeah.
And then you had the super lightweight fight.
Yeah.
Against Taylor?
Talor. Yeah.
Talor. My apologies to Talor. Now, that didn't go your way.
No.
It didn't go your way. It was a little bit different to the title fight you're used to.
Yeah. That one was only the 3 rounds compared to the 5. But in my opinion, and speaking to Ed about it especially, is the best point that he made to me was you go to the World Championships, the highest class of amateur fighting, the best of the best on the world stage, and they only fight 3 rounds given in the final.
Okay.
So we're amateurs. We're not here to be killing each other and getting hurt, sustaining injuries. We're only amateurs. We're here to get the experience. So those 2 extra rounds could have made a big difference to the decision on the night. But each to their own. I'm always going to be humble and say it was a great fight, great experience. So he's a great dude.
Yeah.
Talor's an awesome dude.
It was a great fight. Great fight. I thought personally, towards the end, you were starting to switch on a bit more.
Yeah.
And especially towards the end of the third, I think you hurt him a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you had those extra 2, it could have gone different, but could have, should have, would have.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But it was a fantastic fight. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Really good for the crowd as well. It was a good event. But your previous title fight, now that's what I really want to talk about, the lightweight. Now, being the main event, we were obviously the last fight of the night. And you know how on the amateur shows, people come to watch their mates?
Yeah.
And the crowd just thins out
throughout
the night, so each fight. But main event time, that place was still chocked to the fucking brim. Like, it was still full.
Yeah. It was amazing. It felt like the MCG when you were standing.
Mate, it felt like the fucking Coliseum.
Yeah,
especially during that fight. I literally got, like, how can I say, goosebumps.
Yeah.
Goosebumps. The way the crowd was cheering, and I was lucky enough to sit cage side for that fight. Thank you to William. William got me cage side for your fight. The amount of support you had was tremendous.
Yeah.
And that was a pro level fight. That's the kind of stuff you'd be happy to see on the UFC. Like, it was back and forth, and he was one tough guy.
Yeah, for sure.
One tough guy.
Nothing away from him.
Mate, and the roars in the stadium was just absolutely crazy. How does it feel to have so much support?
It's definitely something else. There's no way to explain it, especially when you put it into perspective like that fight. Being in there and having that much support and feeling it is like nothing else. But I just put it down to I'm truly blessed to the people that support me and get around me constantly all the time. My mates, my family, people that sponsor me and keep me on this path and take this journey with me. I'm just truly grateful. There's no way to explain that feeling, though. It is amazing.
No, you're a very, very humble man. Very humble man, and that's what we love most about you. You're a great fighter, but more important than that, you're humble. You're a great guy. Like, we did a couple of posts on you when we first started working together, and we just comment after comment of people saying you'd be hard pressed to find a better guy.
Yeah.
And it's just a testament to the bloke you are. Now, being a good fighter is important, obviously, but being a good person, it trumps it all. And I think with your attitude and your level of respect to the game, your opponents, people around you, like it puts you in the upper echelon of fighters
Yeah.
in the amateur division, and there's a lot of good things coming your way.
It's funny. Joey said to me one time we were talking about that whole lead up to fights and how people can be so bump heads and rev the fight up and talk shit about each other. And one thing he said to me that always stuck to me was, if you've got the balls to step into the cage and fight someone, you don't need to talk about it or build it up. You've got enough balls, you know what I mean? And that's.
I don't. I've never stepped in that cage. I don't have the balls.
But I think that in itself should be enough for you to give your opponent the respect and be humble about what
Absolutely.
you win or lose.
Before we go ahead, I have to do this. This one's for Joey. Oh my God, you're so famous. He's been doing really well as well. We're going to have him on the show too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, he over at one, Rich Franklin's.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
For sure.
Big deal. Right.
Fighting world-class athletes.
People don't realize, but one's actually got a bigger viewing base than the UFC.
Yeah,
it's absolutely massive. In Asia, they are the bee's knees. In Asia, they're bigger than the UFC, and to be able to, he accomplished a fair bit in the IMAFs as well. What did he get? Bronze, third?
I think he took 2 bronzes over 2 years, and the first year he went, he finished top 8.
That's amazing, because a little bit later on when we talk about what you have to actually go through in the IMAFs to get a bronze.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Ridiculous.
And not only that, he was gold in the Oceanians. I think he definitely took gold in the Africans. I'm not sure else what he competed in, but even to go over to Johannesburg, if you know anything about Johannesburg itself, and to compete, win three days in a row, that's pretty special.
It's just it's whole other level.
Every fight, I think he won by either unanimous decision or he dominated his opponents over there.
Well, in his first fight, he fought a very seasoned fighter as well, and he was so composed. It was amazing, which gives testament to your coaching staff and your gym, the people you guys have around you, and that's also promising to you because you've got him, as well as your coach, who obviously has been around. He's been around the block. He's been on the stage in the UFC, and to have such a solid team, and then on top of that, have guys like Joe who have done it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's going to make your transition a lot easier.
Definitely follow. Yeah, gives us a path to follow for me and a few of the other boys, and even the fact that if Joey's taken 5 minutes out of his training or whatever, he's sitting there watching us. He's teaching us things. He's coaching us. You know what I mean? And that's, you can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to be allowed to come and do some video while you guys were training, and it's a really good environment, really good. No one's there to hurt each other. There's no egos. Everyone's just there to build their brother up.
Yeah, for sure, and have some fun at the same time.
Yeah, it was fun, a lot of fun. Now, you kept me up really late nights watching you over in Bahrain.
Yeah.
So I was staying up till 1, 2 in the morning and going to work at 6, but absolutely worth it because it was amazing to watch you raise our flag over there, the Aussie flag. Now, how'd you go? I obviously know, but just tell our guests, how'd you go in the IMAF Worlds?
So the first round I got matched up against Sweden, beat Sweden by unanimous decision. I don't think it was a domination or anything in between. I think he was quite good in the fight that we were playing. So I won that by unanimous. And then the next day I got matched up against France and beat France by unanimous decision. I think that was the fight that I probably had a bit more fun with just because he let me. But yeah, looking back on that fight, there was a few different things I could have done and heaps to take away from it. And then the third day, I got matched up against Bahrain and fought a Bahrainian and got smashed. But loved it. Yeah,
well, I'll give you this. That guy had like Khabib level pressure, and you did not break.
Yeah.
You did not break. Like you were there, balls to the wall to the very end, and that was really impressive. And it shows that you can hang with them, which is incredible because overseas these guys have a lot more funding. So they've got government-backed training systems. They've got sponsorships. They've got a longer history of mixed martial arts. The Russians have their sambo. All the Eastern countries, they all have the wrestling background.
Yeah.
And MMA is very new here. Wrestling's new here. Wrestling's another sport that's not well funded in Australia. And it's an integral part of MMA, correct?
Sure.
Yeah, so you went over there. It's fair to say that we're babies in the MMA world. We're still in our growing stage. And for you to go over there and kick ass and get through to the third round, and Joey go through. And I think, what was the highest place we got?
For Australia was Olivia, and she got silver medal.
Silver medal. Again, huge.
Oh, amazing.
Absolutely
that was,
huge.
That's the biggest or the highest ranking medal we've ever taken for Team Australia.
Now, explain to people why it's so hard. Compared to the fights you have here, you do a camp, you cut weight, you put the weight back on and you fight. And then you go celebrate when you eat. So what happens when you go to IMAF Worlds?
So that was probably the funniest thing coming out of the first day. I knew I'd beat Sweden, and I thought, I had my hand raised, and I was like, yes, I'm stoked. That's what I wanted. And I walked out the cage, and I went, okay, hang on, I'm fighting again tomorrow. This is sick. It was definitely a different feeling. But for someone like Joey, who's made it to the bronze, or Olivia, who's gone to silver, I think the first day she had a bye. But someone like Joey, who's gone all the way to win bronze, what you do is you weigh in the first day, you get your medicals done, you fight, you walk out of the cage, you go back to your hotel, you check your weight, make sure your weight's on, have some weight management, whatever your weight is. Get up the next day, and we were getting up at 4:30 in the morning, and our weigh-ins are at 6 o'clock. So get up at 4:30, bit of weight management. You'd be in line by 5 o'clock. If you're in line at 5 o'clock, you'd be within the first 20 athletes. If you're in line at 6 o'clock, you'd be within the first 200 to 300 athletes. So you'd be waiting around all morning. So realistically, if you weren't up and you weren't in line at 5 o'clock, you're only going to be hanging around there longer, wasting time.
So you fought the day before, and you're still trying to stay on weight and up at 5:30.
Yeah, 4:30.
4:30, my bad.
4:30.
4:30, and you're in line.
Yeah. So to do that back to back, so that would mean that Joey had to do that 4 days.
Yeah,
Right.
He said the fourth day makes you a man. That's
Yeah.
quoting him directly.
Yeah.
He said the fourth day makes you a man.
Yeah. I just couldn't imagine it. By the third day, when I'd woken up, I felt sore. I was a bit more drained.
Does your tactics change? Your game plan? Is it more preservation coming up?
I think so, definitely. But at the same time, I feel like it's also going to depend on how the fight goes.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'd imagine if I was in that situation, I'd probably try and grind out the first one, play it safe,
yeah,
get it without taking any damage. So the next day, I can go in without having a black eye or a cut. So if you don't make weight the next day,
you're out.
you're out.
Your opponent gets a bye, or they get through to the next round as long as they've made weight. So once you've made weight, you go from the weigh-in room upstairs to a medical room. You get your medicals done. Make sure that you're right to fight, and then from there you've got a couple of hours to do whatever you need to do, and then you're getting put on a bus and you're going to the venue and hanging around all day to fight.
And you're doing your own meal prep and stuff?
Yep.
Everything over there?
Yep.
Wow.
So the good thing about Bahrain and where we were staying, we had a kitchen, and we were pretty blessed with the place that me, Coach, and Absy were in. So we had a supermarket nearby. We go buy stuff, prepare some stuff for the day, and then head over to the venue and hang out there till probably 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then go back, check weight, manage that, and then get up the next day again.
So, and if you were to make it all the way, you'd have to do that every day.
5
and
days
then
in a row.
bear the injuries. And
Is it 5 days or it'd be 4 nights? I think maybe. Yeah.
no, it's too technical.
Yeah.
We've both had a big day.
Yeah.
But now, who decides who goes over there? Can I go?
I'm not sure.
Do you have to earn your way there, or do you have to have some sort of accomplishments in Australia? And is it a selection team? Or?
I'm actually not 100% sure what the actual how you get picked to the team, but you can't.
We'll have to get someone from IMAF on.
Yeah, but you can't just. I don't think you'd just be able to go. I want to have a fight and then go get straight to the Worlds against and represent Australia.
If you're listening out there, I have no intention of going to the Worlds. Never.
You sounded pretty keen. Then.
Man, I was super heavyweight. They will absolutely decimate me over there. I've not trained in 6 years. I'm not going over there to fight the cream of the crop. Now, there's something that sits a little bit, on my angry side when it comes to, going over to the Worlds, to IMAF in Bahrain. You guys are completely self-funded, correct?
Yep.
You guys being the Australian team, and I was told by coach that it's also New Zealand.
Yep.
The New Zealand team is completely self-funded. Now, just ballpark figure, what's it cost you to go over there?
I think once you paid registration and flights, you're probably looking at an easy $4,000.
$4K.
Yep. And then obviously you have, depending on your job situation, you have time off work, you have spending money, and then you have all your training leading up to that.
Yep, and then you got supplements and
everything in
dietitians and nutrition.
For sure.
So there's a lot of money involved, a lot of time.
Yep.
And let's just make it clear, there's no prize money at the end. These guys are doing it absolutely for the glory. Like, you don't get a big payout at the end of the day. You pay to go over there and fight. So this might sound crazy to some people, but you pay out of your own pocket a large sum of money to go there and get punched in the face for potentially 5 days straight.
Yeah.
Now,
but all completely worth it.
Yeah, 100%. It was you. I spoke to you while you were over there.
My money any better.
You said it was the best experience of your life.
For sure. Yeah.
Apart from getting engaged, right?
Yeah.
After getting engaged,
after walking out the cage and fighting Bahrain, it was such a weird feeling because I felt that I got dominated and I got beaten up. And I walked backstage and I went, I love MMA so much more now.
Yeah.
Like the addiction just took completely over. It was so weird, but amazing.
You had a new fire in you after that.
Yep.
I could see it. And I think that high level experiencing that, and the other things that you experienced this year, like going to one, fighting in the Asians, these all kind of added fuel to the fire. Yep. And even though you lost, that was an amazing effort. What's going to make it easier for more fighters to get across there? People like yourself, people like Troy Fumo, who's also one of our sponsored athletes. We as Fight Kingdom, we intend on helping you out as absolutely much as possible, getting you over there, helping you fund your trip. But what can the average fighter, what will help them get over there? It's going to be really hard to get government funding because it was hard enough to get MMA legalized here. Up until a couple of years ago, we couldn't fight. We couldn't fight in a cage. Yeah. MMA was banned. And now it's becoming a bit more mainstream, but it's unlikely that the government's going to pump any money in. So what's going to make it easier for you guys to get over there? Sponsorship?
Yeah, I think so. I'm definitely very lucky that that's one of the things I guess I have going for me. And I'll probably just take a second to thank a few people that helped me specifically just to get to Bahrain, and people like my uncle at Profex Aluminium, Big Valley Produce, Vision One, and Chala Bananas. They specifically put aside time leading up to the fight to help me get over there. And my dad did an amazing job of helping me get over there. He was the main push for everything. So Darren Reeves, you are a legend, and I didn't forget. But yeah, again, the sponsorship was a massive, massive part in getting over there and being able to again take that time from work and yeah, take that journey.
So basically,
the best.
Basically, what we're saying to anyone who's watching out there, anyone who's listening to this, if you are in a position to get behind these athletes, get behind them because they're doing an absolutely amazing job representing the sport, representing our country. Like there's a cracking photo of Corey holding the Aussie flag where he's got the victory. Yeah. And that's what it's all about. We really need to get behind these guys. You know, small donations, big donations, fundraisers. Ideally, we want corporate involvement. We want the big boys coming in and pumping money.
But not just for us, personal athletes. We got coaches. Ed's completely self-funded.
100%.
And so you put it in that perspective and you go, okay, these boys are going over because they want to fight people. They want to get their experience. What about Ed? What about people like Ed who are completely self-funding themselves for us fighters?
We've got nothing to
gain.
If
anyone needs the funding, it's him, not us fighters. We're getting everything out of it.
So ideally, would you say it would be team funding that would be required? Team Australia rather than personal?
Yeah, definitely.
And I think you guys did have one sponsor. No? Yeah, I saw Joma.
Yeah, I think they did our clothing, but I'm not sure what.
Well, that's one thing. They did your clothing. Sure. They helped. Like, shout out to the guys at Joma, you know. Getting behind grassroots MMA.
Getting behind Joey.
Yeah, getting behind Joey as well, but getting behind grassroots MMA is very important. If we do have the talent in this country to take on the world. Like Robert Whittaker showed that. And there's so many good guys coming through. But this is where it all starts. At the Amis, this is where you sharpen your tools. This is where you get all your experience. This is where you take your L's because they don't matter when you go pro. So you get them all out of your system. And this is when we really need the support. This is where Team Australia really needs the support and amateur fighters need the support. It's all well and good being on the back of a T-shirt of someone who's made it.
Yeah.
That's easy. You're just showing off. But we need, I can't stress it enough, we need to get behind. Guys, we need to get behind amateur MMA. Very, very important. If we want to compete, if we want to go against the big guys, if we want more belts, more straps in Australia, we've got to get behind them at grassroots because once we build that foundation, it's all going to flow. It's all going to flow, and we're going to see guys like Corey putting the UFC belt around his waist. We're going to see guys like Joey become the one champion.
Sure.
And we've got a whole bunch of talent. This is only the first podcast, and I intend on getting majority amateur guys on here.
Yeah,
we'll get the pros in as well, but I want this to be a platform for you guys to develop, for you guys to get your name out there, your vision, and also awareness.
Yeah,
what we need to do as the fight fans to help the sport develop.
Yeah,
and it's all good and well sitting around at the pub watching the UFC on a Sunday, but there's so much going on right at our front door.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
around the corner.
Exactly right. Like you live down the road from me. You know, you've got a bright future, and you're actually, like you said, you're blessed. You've got the backing, but there's guys that don't.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's a major point. I'll probably harped on about it too much, but it's something I'm very passionate about.
Yeah.
So we'll move on from that. You going back?
I want to.
You want to? You want that gold?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to give it. I love testing myself.
You do? I've never seen you take an easy fight, really. So, all right. What else? Well, like you mentioned, you recently got engaged.
Yep.
Again, a big congratulations.
Thank you.
To you and your partner. That was over in the Philippines?
Yes, that was over in the Philippines.
And you did it the day before You
We flew out.
You flew out.
Yeah.
Now you told me a story that gave me fucking nightmares.
Yeah.
About what happened next. Fill in our viewers to the
I'll
absolute.
try to relay it as best as I relate it to you.
Yeah, because I want them to feel the fear that I felt.
Okay, so me and Cassandra, we got engaged on the Friday night, and the Saturday morning we had to fly out. We flew out at 10 a.m. We were flying from Bohol to Manila, and then Manila to home. Flying from Bohol to Manila, we were about 10 minutes in the air, and all of a sudden we heard a massive bang come from the left side of the plane. And I had headphones on like this, and I was watching a TV show, and it was that loud and that like shaky that it shook me in my seat, and I actually got a fright from it. I was like, "What is that?" In my head, I knew that something was wrong with the left side of the plane. Either we hit something straight away. Sully, the movie starts going through my head. I'm like, "Oh no!" Yeah, Cass was obviously pretty upset. We knew something was wrong, and then we felt him veer right. Then he veered left. He went to go down, then he went to go up, and it just didn't go up again. So what had actually happened was he'd lost the engine on the left side of the plane. They can't explain the reason, but they lost the left side engine of the plane, so he lost his thrusters to be able to move the plane higher.
It's a pretty essential part of the plane. I
think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And so as soon as he's realised that, he's checked his controls. He's going to go up again. Realised that he can't go up. So the hostess has made an announcement over the radio over the plane that they're going to do an emergency landing. Due to technical difficulty. So I think everyone on the plane knew that there was something wrong with the left side of the plane, but took us to about 10 minutes, I reckon, to rise to where we were, and we were just above the clouds. And I reckon we're on the runway in Cebu in 2 minutes. All I remember was being above the clouds. He completely went right, and then as he's gone right, he's completely gone forward, and I'm holding onto my seat to keep myself in the seat. That's how quickly he's nosediving, or what felt like nosediving. But
Cebu's an island close by.
Yeah, so Cebu is one of the islands, a part of the Philippines, and it was very lucky that Cebu Airport was where it was.
It's your favourite island now, isn't it?
Yeah, so there was a few people in the wedding and stuff like that were going from Bohol to Cebu and doing all the island hopping. So it was cool to make an unexpected stop that we didn't pay for in Cebu. But as we're coming down, we got, I reckon, what felt like 500 meters off the ground or whatever. He turned the plane off just to take away any, from what I was told, was to take away any flammable sources. He'd done a petrol dump, and we were sort of floating through the air, and it was the most eeriest, scariest feeling I've ever felt, because I couldn't see the airport towers or anything. I couldn't see anything to do with an airport, and I'm thinking all I can see is these houses and shacks and people walking around. I'm thinking, and I was in an aisle seat, so I didn't have a good view as it was, and I'm thinking, he's turned the plane off. We haven't made the runway. I'm like, oh well, I've lived a pretty good life, done some cool shit. If it's meant to be, hopefully it's quick, because who wants to have the long death? But anyway, I just kept trying to tell Cass it's going to be all good. They do this stuff all the time. It's nothing to worry about. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, we're dead. But so we're coming over probably 100 meters off the ground. I still couldn't see anything. Thought we were gone. And then all of a sudden, we're seeing the last building. And I thought we were going to hit the top of the building. That's how close we were. You hit the runway. Had no reverse thrusters, so what actually happened was he had to use every meter of the runway. So that's why he came in so close to everything else, because he had to use every meter of the runway to be able to stop at the other end, because he didn't have one of the reverse thrusters. And then as we've landed, he's flicked the plane back on, and everything just sounds like crazy. I'm looking down the runway. There's I think I counted personally 10 to 12 emergency vehicles that had cleared the runway for our landing. He's came to a stop. The emergency vehicles driven around, made sure that I guess everything's all right. And they've sort of tugged us over towards the airport. Got us off the plane. As we've gotten off the plane, I'm taking photos of like 8 guys that have already pulled apart, like lifted up the turbine on the left side of the plane and doing stuff in there. And they're like, just go straight to the airport, go to the desk, they'll tell you what's going on. Went up there and they said, I'll come back in half an hour. So we went and had some lunch and we came back, still a bit in shock or whatever. And the guy said, the manager from the airline said, there's no nice way to put this, but the engine was completely decimated. It was completely destroyed and there's no way to repair it. So the plane's completely offline and the turbine needs to be replaced. So we were sort of like, oh, wow, okay, cool. They took us downstairs and I actually got chatting to a Canadian guy that was down there, and he was on the same flight. He was flying business class, and he's actually a pilot up in Canada. Flies a Cessna for work to get around the area. And he was saying that as soon as he heard the bang, he knew something was wrong because he checked his control straight away, which is apparently one of the first things you do as soon as something goes wrong. And he said that he jumped straight on his like a pilot's app that he uses for his job, and he checked the location. And he said if Cebu Airport wasn't where it was at the feet that we were at and the location we were at, we definitely 100% would have been landing in the ocean.
Fuck all that.
Yeah, and yeah, so it was definitely an interesting experience. Probably the scariest thing I've ever been through in my life.
Yeah, and you fight in cages.
Yeah.
Oh man, I will not be flying anywhere anytime soon.
It was definitely interesting, but very lucky because I was giving Cassandra a bit of a hard time that we had a 9-hour layover in Manila for our connecting flight to go to Melbourne. I'm thinking, what are we going to do at the airport? Well, we had an unexpected stop in Cebu, and that chewed up about 5 or 6 hours trying to get a new flight out of there with another airline because they had no other airlines to get us over there.
And then you got on a plane to come back to Australia.
Yeah, it was a big day. It was a big day, but it wasn't meant to be this time. So,
man,
still here to live another day.
Absolutely incredible story. Yeah, when you told me, I had chills, and I thought we definitely have to get him to tell that story because that's. Hopefully it never happens again. That's a once in a lifetime.
Yeah, well, I don't think the chances of it happening twice have got to be.
Let's just say never.
Let's
just say that's never going to happen again.
And the worst part was, I said to the pilot downstairs, I go, but even if Cebu Airport wasn't there and we had to land in the ocean, we could have just done a Yui and glided back to where we took off from. He's like, mate, it's not how it works. You need thrusters to get the plane there. I'm like, oh, okay. Cool. So we would have been landing in the ocean.
So you suggested that he does a handbrake here and just go back.
Let's go back to where he took off from, mate. It's all good.
All right, man. Well, it's been an absolute blast having you on. Thank you. This was our absolute first one ever. I had a bit of the jitters. You had a bit of jitters.
Yeah.
But I think we've covered pretty much everything we wanted to talk about. I do want to have you on again in the future. I know there's some things in the works that we won't talk about yet, and I'll get you back to talk about them. We thanked your sponsors. Do you want to just quickly
not all of them.
Give them a shout out because these guys are the real heroes?
Definitely want to take. So there's everyone I need to thank, and I'm truly grateful for. But Michelle Reeves, anyone looking for nutrition, either whether it's fighting or not fighting, general health. She's definitely the only person to see in Australia.
I back that 100%.
Again, my uncle at Profix Aluminium. I don't know what I'd do without him. Big Valley Produce. Thank you, Frank and Vince. Vision One Windows and Doors. Top Shelf Fruits. Archella Bananas. Fight Kingdom. And DNC Builders and Combat Cafe. And anyone who's also not as much a sponsor, but someone who really helps me out. A guy named Monk who does foods. Anyone who's after foods or pre-prep meals that are fresh, weekly, cooked the night before, not frozen, not stored for months. Personal message me and I'm happy to pass on his details for you. It's helped me out a lot, especially with work and everything in between.
That's amazing.
Thank you all.
Thank you to all those guys for helping out. And anyone who wants to jump on board, just direct message Corey because he will be.
Oh, my dad.
Call his dad, his manager.
Donkey.
Now, in the words of Joey Luciano, he will be, oh my God, so famous. So get in now while you can. I thank you very much for coming on. This podcast for me has been 2 years in the making. I've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hiccups, but you've come on board this year. Troy Fumo has come on board this year, and things are starting to go well. We're doing really great, making our way in the scene. So I just want to do a few thank yous before I go. Now, Wayne Carl and Wombat Jones, thank you for pushing me. Thank you for making me do this when I was going to back out every time. They're like, just fucking do it, Murat. Stop being afraid. Just get it done. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for all your support. My business partner and the other half, the other 2/3. My math is horrible today. The other 2/3 of Kingdom, Bobo, and my lovely wife Ezra. Thank you guys for all your support. To all my family, stood behind me. All those that have supported us by buying our gear, by supporting the sponsored shirts, which we use to support fighters. We absolutely love and adore you all. Thank you for tuning in. There'll be plenty more shows. Hopefully, we entertained you a little bit. Visit fightkingdom.com if you want some really cool shit. There's lots of cool shit. Move our heads out of the way. And we'll be back soon. Be a king. Follow the kingdom. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.